I just take regular white vinegar and I run around the garden and pick out all the fragrant herbs that I can. In this one, it's juniper, lantana, rosemary, sage, and probably some other things I'm forgetting, and just let it steep in the sun for about a couple of weeks. And then I have this, then I just decant it into these jars, or excuse me, spray bottles, and I use it in cleaning. And I'm just gonna do this because you all can't smell it, but it smells just divine. And then another thing I love to do is make tinctures. This is artichoke leaf. This is for liver support, great for digestion. And I just take a little bit before a meal. I myself was diagnosed with 2 autoimmune disorders a few years ago, and I was told that they were progressive and incurable, and that I needed to take certain pills, etc. And somewhere in there, and it was a scary time for me, and it was also, I lost my energy, I lost my vitality. I couldn't hardly get up off the couch. So then I started looking for healers and healing things, and that included plants. I was already fermenting, but I went more deeply into the healing qualities of various plants, and I'm just happy to report that now those incurable progressive diseases, I no longer have them in my system.
Front yard and back, Meredith Thomas grows tasty meals and good health in a typical Allendale homestead. She and husband Walter Stroop Jr. wake up every morning to peace and cheer that reflect the calendar of discovery.
At age 45, something sprouted, and I realized that I have a calling with these plants.
A few years ago, she dumped lawn for pea gravel and raised beds to grow organic food.
The bottom line is I wanted to serve healthy food to my children. Everything has been scavenged, or the soil I was all built from sheet composting. Every board, every rock, everything I hauled.
In mid-October, summer's burgundy amaranth and sunny cowpen daisies shade newly sprouted winter tastes and upcoming vegetables. Her special joy is heading outside to pick her plants and then eat them.
I try to take a moment before I pick to ask permission, and then also to thank after I eat. And also doing that before I sit down to a beautiful meal that's come from mostly just around the yard. This morning I had rice, and I had cooked the rice. I took fig leaves, and while the rice was cooking in the rice cooker, I had fig leaves that were on the surface, and it perfumes this with the most amazing complex smell. You can't even imagine the taste of it. It's like vanilla and spicy. I also make tea from fig leaves.
Along with their beauty, Meredith finds multiple uses for every plant. Although she likes to pluck ripe Meyer lemons in fall, she harvests leaves all year for delicious tea. Even her fence screening plants multitask.
When I first planted loquat, I planted it because I love the look of it. It's beautiful. I wanted a screen. I wanted something that would be reliable. It's a reliable plant. And then I love the fruit, but now I found out about the loquat leaf and its medicinal qualities.
Originally, she planted passion vine for its bold leaves that quickly ornament a blank fence and feed cold fritillary caterpillars.
I didn't even know that it had sedative qualities. I mean, we all suffer from anxiety from one another. And so I made tinctures of the passion flower plant and found that its action was really strong. But just somewhere out of the blue, I just decided that I would just take some of the fresh vine and decoct it for a nighttime tea. If you look at almost any sleepy time tea, you'll see passion vine listed as one, or passion flower listed as one of the ingredients. And now I have mullein, and I think a lot of people know that the mullein flowers steeped in olive oil are the remedy for earache. And then the leaves are also for asthma and other things, so you can use the leaves and the flowers.
She's learned to forage wisely with respect for the wild foods that some consider weeds. When they show up on their own in her garden, she doesn't banish them from orchestrated beds.
I started being more interested in what grew outside of the box than in the box. Then I started wanting to encourage those plants that grow naturally here. So I would bring them here. And I have a wild area where I spread wild mustard seeds. So now I have wild mustard, which I know most people want to get rid of, but I eat it and love it. I've tried dock, cleavers, henbit, chickweed, those all just showed up on their own. The direction I'm going is more wild, more perennial, less work per se. It was just amazing just even to go out in it this morning. And in the dark, I fumbled around and I picked passion vine leaves, the new shoots of passion vine leaves. And then I went to the arugula that's sprouting and picked the little baby arugulas and picked the little baby radishes. And then I went out to the moringa tree and picked some moringa, which is the vitamin tree for my vitamin boost. And I just feel gratitude. Every meal, just great gratitude.
Meredith harvests from the front yard too, where she invites neighbors to share. Pollinators and birds also welcome her neighborly food forest since she changed the curbside appeal.
Initially, I just wanted to actually have a screen between our house and the street. The bedroom windows look out onto the street, and I didn't like my children looking out onto a street. I wanted them to see green. And so that's why I planted that row of loquats. It was a buffer visually. Also, we have some light pollution from Burnett Road. It actually helped with that. And also noise. I wanted a little living room. That's essentially what I hope to create, what's a little living room in there. I think it was 2 years ago, I just decided that that was the sunniest part of the house, and I really would love to have an orchard. And I planted 2 persimmon, a quince, 2 Anna apples, a peach, a fig, a pomegranate, a cherry barbados. Tree trimming places will come and do great big loads of mulch. And then I'd also, over the years, accumulated a bunch of chopped limestone. I planted sunchokes this year, Jerusalem artichokes, beautiful sunflowers, but then it's got the tuber to eat, and it spreads, which I actually consider that a plus.
She frames the front door with papalo.
Papalo is not that well known. It's a Mexican herb. They're very fragrant and very strong flavor. That's my summer green, my summer salad. It's very hardy. It grows in any kind of condition.
Self-seeding lamb's quarters is durable, lovely, and delicious.
Lamb's quarters, aka Chenopodium giganteum, and this is a particular cultivar called Magenta Spreen. It's the most delicious green, and I think all of us know in Texas that it's very hard to have any green in the summer. It grows in shade, it grows in part shade, it grows in full sun, no water, a lot of water, any kind of soil. Another term for it is wild spinach. So if you like spinach, you will love this plant.
Then she got into fermenting and making bitters.
I finally built this. I bought 2 stainless steel tanks. Each one can fit 300 pounds of substrate or plant matter. So fermenting is what you do when you put vegetable matter under brine, essentially. It's an anaerobic process. And every single vegetable on planet Earth has lactobacilli growing on it. Every single one, occurring naturally. And the magic that happens is that when you put these vegetables in contact with salt and under brine, the lactobacilli magically proliferate. And so they actually turn the cabbage or carrot or whatever it is that you're fermenting into having more vitamins, more of a health benefit than it did in its raw state. Those are the bitters. Here's some fig. Give it a taste. Delicious, strong, delicious.
So what are bitters?
I get a plant, either dried or fresh, and roots and bark, and then get Everclear or vodka, or in some cases brandy. You steep the plant in the jar with the alcohol, and so after 2, 3, 4 weeks, you then strain it, and that's what you have, what should be the base of the bitters. It's very similar to making tinctures. So tinctures would be the same thing. There's kind of a crossover. The difference I would say with bitters is that there's a very strong bitter taste. It's the energy of the plant and it's the engagement with the plant that for me has been a great healer, not just from what I've ingested, but being in contact with them.